Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, each and every one of you. Oh, Lord, a lot going on out here in these recording streets. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Good morning. Good morning, Queen Lottie B. Good morning. Welcome to Mornings with Marvel, where authenticity lives and thrives to create a space of growth, healing, and joy. I am your host, Andrea Lawful Sanders, and each day we will cover the topics that are informative and engaging while learning from each other. Good morning to each and every one of you. It is Monday, August 11th, 2025. We say this every week, but this year is flying right on by. It was an excellent weekend for so many of us. I saw weddings, I saw parties, I saw all the good things. For myself and a few hundred others, we were supporting Mr. Man Frisbee in his inaugural Big Black Ball, where we all got dressed up in our finest gear for Philadelphia, and show up on the red carpet. And it was to support the Achievers Brunch, something he has been doing since 2018, that supports young Black boys that are going off to college. They spoke on Saturday of four young men that got full ride scholarships to Penn State as a direct result of Mr. Man and his partner, Randashine, the magician. So we all went in, we partied, we bid on certain things. Wait, what? Lord. So I don't know if I'll have David. So I don't think he can. Nope, he's still in flight. So David is in flight this morning, and on his way to God knows where. If he's on his way back or on his way there, so he will not be able to talk to me while he's in flight. So we're going to have to do this by ourselves this morning, and we'll figure it out. Or David, you can type and talk to us as much as you possibly can while you're in flight. So anyway, we did the Big Black Ball on Saturday. And I still have stuff under my eyes. My goodness, my Ira Anthony, did an amazing job. But we were there supporting the Achievers Brunch to raise money for these young men. A full ride scholarship to Penn State is no laughing matter, and so four of them were able to get that last year. And so he's working to curate those kinds of things. Plus, they got, I think, I can't remember exactly how many thousands they each got to make sure that they could go off to college and have money, etc. So it was something that I wanted to support, and it's something that we did support. And then on Sunday, I don't know what made me do this, but because I just don't have any time, all my weekends in August are taken up. I had a merchandise pop up for A.LawfulTruth. I began wearing my branding just, because I didn't want to wear anybody else's stuff and use anybody else's mugs. And so I began doing my own stuff, and people started asking, can we get this? Can we get that? So I have the mug for my tea. I have the container for my water. So I'm not branding anybody else's stuff. And when I'm, so this is where we are. And so we sold way more than us. We sold a lot. So thank you to everyone who showed up. All of you who were a part of what was going on Sunday. It was, it was church, and so we had a steady stream. People coming in, people going out, people coming in, people going out. I also want to thank the people who are volunteers. Laura Roan, Marguerite Boyd Faison, Simone Culver, Tiffany McIntyre. They all came through. Simone's daughter came through. My baby girl, I'm not naming her. I don't name children, even when they're young adults. They were there in the beginning, and at the end we had Mary Alyssa May and her friend stayed and helped us to wrap the remainder of the mugs. Duafe, I may have 10 t-shirts left. I mean, you all came and waxed out the t-shirts, and I bought way more mugs than I bought t-shirts. So Duafe has kindly offered to sell some of the t-shirts and the mugs, so I didn't have to do it. I don't like doing merchandise pop-ups, right? It's just a lot of work, and so And I'm just being honest with all of you. So you may not see another one for a while, but if you want to get something, go into Duafe and purchase it. That was fantastic. Sarita was, giving people hair consultations. I'll post all of that later on. I'm telling you, I came home between walking the big black ball all afternoon and evening on Saturday and then doing the merch pop-up. I went to bed. I came in the house. I didn't even take my makeup off and I went to sleep. And when I woke up at like midnight, I couldn't walk. I was so stiff from just moving all along. So here we are. We are here. Thank you all so much for every bit of everything. But now we're back to reality. And reality does not look so wonderful. Over the weekend, I began learning. People started walking up and saying things like, I haven't worked in 8 months to a year. My child has cancer. My spouse has cancer. I have cancer. Like, you just kept hearing people. And the entire weekend, particularly yesterday, I spent the whole day just holding on to people and letting my energy seep into them and encouraging them in their ears, right? Some folks were in tears. It was just a lot. There's a lot. I'm saying all of this to say there's so much going on that we're not voicing. We're just not voicing it. And we pretend like all is well. And not pretend, but you don't want to walk around like a sour face and say, this is wrong and that is wrong. And I absolutely get it. Because there's some mornings I wake up and I go, I keep saying this to y'all. I don't want to do this. So I'm driving from Duafe to go home. My husband was there. Mr. was in attendance. And so he helped with the volunteers to pack up what was left in the cars. And I'm going down JFK Boulevard and I see a man sitting at the bus station with like boxes, and you could tell he was unhoused. But as I'm looking at him and praying, I could feel something searing into my face. Now, remember, I have tinted windows all around my car, so I can see out, but most people can't see in. And I swear to you, there was a woman sitting behind him. She's beside him. She was unhoused too. I don't know if they were family members or if they were a couple or whatever was going on. And her eyes looked dead into mine, like dead into mine. And I said, wait, can she see me? And I pulled back. And I looked again, and she was looking. I said, okay, this is a sign from something. Y'all, it is hard. Good morning, Simone. It is hard. It is hard out here. Her eyes seared into my memory up until this morning. When I woke up, I was like, did I dream that? People are literally going through. So as we're sitting here talking about all the wonderful things that are happening in our lives and how great things are and blah, 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 there's so much more that we're not sharing. There's so much fear that is beyond us. It's a lot. It's a lot. And this morning, I awakened to see that our president has now sent 100 and something FBI agents into the streets of Washington, D.C. But if you were paying attention, he was talking about militarizing Washington, D.C. for months now. But there was so many other things that were going on. So according to him, in his thing, he's going to remove all the unhoused people, the homeless people. He says, don't worry, you will be someplace safe. And we all know what that means. And so people were sounding the alarm that they were going into camps and you may never see them again. I don't know how true that is, but there were so many people, the news, folks who were on Instagram, were all sounding the alarm and saying, this is not right. This is not good. So this morning, 120 FBI agents will be out on the streets, and I'm sure there'll be some military presence too, putting people off the streets. And he says, if you are a criminal, you can stay because we're going to scoop you up and get rid of you. Do what we need to do to make sure that you go into prison or whatever else. We are in such a precarious place. We're in such a precarious place. I now can understand why certain mayors or certain governors say nothing, trying not to draw attention to this place, to their cities, because folks are really, really going through it. The top 10 cities where they tell you to move out now. It is now August, and they're telling you that the top 10 cities are in dire straits. Philadelphia was not on the list, but they're like, if you live there, move out. Atlanta was on the list. St. Louis, Missouri was on the list. I believe it was San Diego. It was weird. San Diego was on that list. People are just really strong. Oh, God, it's hard. So I'm going to cover some news, and let me also read your messages because I see them over here. I call her Jasenia. She told me her name was something else, and I was like, wait, what? Good morning, Banana. How are you? So I'm still gonna call you Jasenia with your permission, my darling. That was too funny. Good morning, Bobby. Good morning, Marguerite, Melissa, Shaquilla, Viola, Erica. Good morning. Thank you all so much. Viola says she arrived home safely. Clearly, because you're talking to me this morning. Good morning, Laura. All of these people showed up. Marguerite said, partied with a purpose. Absolutely. Great morning, Monica. How are you, my darling? Oh, Bobby says your outfit did look great. Thank you. That was a lot of work. Planned it out in 2 months, and was running around trying to do it all, but it was for a worthy cause. So I'm going to donate that to the American Museum of History in Washington, D.C. The goal is not to wear, that was not something you wear on a regular black carpet. It was just very different. Laura says, good times was had by everyone at the big black ball. The painting you got was beautiful. I did, and I then loaned it to Duwafe to put on their walls. Duwafe is a walk-in museum. You've got to see that place. Good morning, Beatrice. It was so good to see you yesterday, my darling. Yes. I see you all here. They're talking about Saturday and Sunday. Ha! Laura says, wait, we need that water container. I want one. Jasenia, oh, good morning. Good morning. There's a lot of good mornings out here. What is he planning to do with the homeless people? I don't know. Good morning, Mary Alyssa May. Thank you so much with your friend for staying behind and helping us yesterday. We were really grateful to you, to the both of you. I served tea. Winetta says, what an awesome pop-up. Oh, Market, she loved it. We served tea from Moy Bien Teas. Jasmine Moy makes these teas, and there were so many people asking, where did teas come from? I actually ordered a gallon from her to come home yesterday. It's, my flavor is fruit of the spirit. You've got to taste these teas. If you want to access her, call Duwafe or look for Moy, Moybein teas. Very, very good. And then I went to Sophisticates and got a huge cake and some and so people just had a good time. I didn't just have you come and buy, I was serving you a food too, so it was really, really good. I'm going to cover a little bit of the news. David is in flight, so we'll talk. I'm sure we'll talk tomorrow on one of those days. By the way, I'm letting you all know now, and I'll say it all week long. Next week, I will be away with my grandchildren. This will be the first time I'm taking a break with all my grandchildren, and I'm so excited to spend some time with them. So next week, there will be no mornings with Mother. I will repost some of the things that we're doing, every morning, so you can, rewatch or do whatever you want to do. We just curated the thing from Congresswoman Madeline Dean, so you'll see that up this week. And so, but yes, next week I'm spending the entire week with my grandchildren. I was going to take my equipment, and I was like, no, life is too short. Enjoy it. Absolutely enjoy it. And I'm seeing so many people working their fingers to the bone. I would have done that. I used to do that. I don't do that anymore, right? I'm just going to Simone says Marvel holiday pop-up. Let's go. I'll think about it, Simone. So remember now, I will be spending next week with my grandchildren. Copy, paste, repeat, and Mr. Professor. And it's the first time I've been able to do it since they've all been born. So let's see. Is that the news? The news. A gunman attacked the main campus of the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention in Atlanta on Friday, further shaking an agency in the midst of a tumultuous year. Deborah Ann Henderson Scott, thank you so much. They loved the things that you curated. That mug that says Mornings with Mother in black on the, oh, child, thank you. Just thank you. All of you. It was Deborah Henderson Scott, and I'm looking at her face. Kelly Wyatt were my two vendors that I used for just about everything. Deborah did my my tablecloth, all of it. So if you ever want to, curate some stuff, I'll post this morning. I'll put all of that up so you can get the websites and stuff for everybody. Let me start again. I'm doing the news now. A gunman attacked the main campus of the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention in Atlanta on Friday, further shaking an agency in the midst of a tumultuous year. One police officer died in the shooting. My God. Atlanta police said the shooter was killed and there was no ongoing threat in a release at 6:40 p.m. Susan Mornares, the agency's director, who was just sworn in last week, said in a post on X that the agency was working with federal, state, and local enforcement to investigate the shooting. And then this was written by statnews.com. In a large and hastily arranged Zoom call on Saturday, about 800 rattled staffers with the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention tried to make sense of the trauma they endured just a day earlier when a gunman opened fire on the agency's buildings from across the street. They had been winding down for the weekend when more than 40 bullets smashed through their office windows, whizzing just over their cubicles and petrifying staffers in at least 4 buildings. But Friday's violent episode is the latest unsettling new chapter in what it has been a turbulent period for the CDC. While authorities have not announced the motive for the shooting, law enforcement says the suspect may have targeted the CDC over health concerns he blamed on the COVID-19 vaccine. That was written by CNNnews.com. Oh, Deborah, I'm not done with you yet, darling. Just hold on. Mother's trying to. Whoo! Kelly Wyatt did these t-shirts and people loved them. The t-shirts were great quality too. I don't want to talk about this part because people have been talking about this. Pat Dugan will appear on the ballot for Philadelphia District Attorney General election as a Republican. Pat Dugan announced that he will file the necessary paperwork on Monday, August 11, today, to appear on the ballot for Philadelphia District Attorney in the November 4th general election. As an independent Democrat, he is able to appear on the ballot as a Republican due to a historic write-in effort undertaken by citizens across the city in the primary election. Dugan said in a news release on Saturday, he received over 6,000 write-in votes from Republicans, which allows him to run on that side of the ballots. CBSnews.com. So here we go. We assumed that because Larry Krasner won in the primaries that he was just a shoo-in for the general elections. This is a dangerous thing that's about to happen here, in my estimation, because there's so many disgruntled people, and there are people, there are eyes that are set on the city. They want to turn the city into, they want a Republican mayor, and they want a Republican governor, and they want to what end? Because Philadelphia and Pennsylvania, is considered a blue state, and they're trying to take over the states that have democratic rules. So be very mindful about everything that's going on out here with and around all of you. So let's see what comes out of that. It just may be that there are enough votes to carry Larry Krasner over in November. But here's the thing. You can't assume anything. You just cannot assume anything. That was CBS.com. 6 months into Donald Trump's second term, his administration is at war with the federal judiciary, evading court orders, blocking its agenda, suing judges for alleged misconduct, and veering toward what multiple current and former federal judges say could be a constitutional crisis. We have been talking about this. I cannot wait to push out this video, this interview with Congresswoman Madeline Dean, because we did talk about this. 6 months into his second term, the president's administration is at war with the federal judiciary, evading court orders, blocking its agenda, suing judges for alleged misconduct, and veering toward what multiple current and former federal judges say is a constitutional crisis. The administration this summer sued the entire federal district. I want you to understand what that means. In Maryland, after its chief judge temporarily blocked immigration removals, it also filed a judicial misconduct complaint recently against the chief judge of the powerful D.C. District Court, James Jeb Boasberg, over comments he reportedly made in private to the Supreme Court Justice John Roberts in March. Do you all see what's going on here? Yes, Deborah Ann Henderson. I'm seeing them, and she says, has anyone noticed the number of ads suggesting that families be ready? They even provide information about ready.gov website, things that make you go, Yeah. It's just watch and see. Just watch, and I don't want us to assume we talk about the three branches of government, but if the judiciary is there, if Congress is there and they're hamstrung, if the judiciary is doing what our laws say, they are open to doing, which would take away, which would make it so that one person couldn't have all the power, which is why we have three branches of government. So if the judiciary is standing in the gap and they're being ignored or sued or threatened, then what happens to us as a country? I believe, and this is just me talking, in the next 5 years we will not recognize this place. And everybody keeps saying, well, when the elections come, when the elections come, when the elections come. I need to open up this and see. CNN.com wrote this. Ooh, the courts are helpless. Inside the Trump administration's steady erosion. Oh, Lord. 6 months. This is written by CNN.com. The standoff is unlikely to end anytime soon. On Friday, an appeals court ruled that Boasberg cannot move ahead in his effort to hold Trump administration officials in contempt for misleading him in a fast-moving case in which migrant detainees were handed over to a Salvadoran prison. As Trump-appointed judges across the country continue to deliver the administration wins, the federal judiciary's ability to be a check on the executive branch has slowly been diminished. They are trying to intimidate, threaten, and just run over the courts in ways they have never seen, said one retired federal judge, who, like about half a dozen other former and current judges, spoke to CNN anonymously. Given the climate of harassment the Trump administration has created and the tradition of jurists not to comment publicly on politics and ongoing disputes, the courts have tools to fight back. A lawyer in a courtroom who refuses a direct order or lies can be held in contempt on the spot. Judges also have the power to demand witness testimony and documents. They may also commission independent investigations and can make a criminal referral or levy civil penalties like fines. But so far, many judges have hesitated to move too quickly to levy sanctions or other punishments aimed at the Trump administration. The truth is we are at the mercy of the executive branch, said one former federal appellate judge, adding that courts have fewer enforcement mechanisms than the White House, such as law enforcement and prosecutorial power. Sanctions situations also typically escalate slowly, and appeal opportunities for the Justice Department are ample and can take years. At the end of the day, courts are helpless, the former judge added. Lord have mercy. Some judges, like Boasberg in Washington, D.C., and Judge Paula Zinnis in Maryland, have already analyzed how they could respond to disobedience by moving towards sanctions or contempt proceedings for members of the Trump administration. In both judges' courts, the administration has delayed following judicial orders when detainees were sent to prison in El Salvador without the proper due process. So, I in a world where I am working very diligently to not frighten anyone, I want you to understand that this is an administration where if they decide they want to scoop you up off the streets and send you anywhere, whether you have your papers or not. Let's just say you're an American citizen and you're walking around with your American passport card, but you get snatched off the street and no one does anything with you. Your family can't find you. You're gone for weeks, sometimes months, depending on whatever they think your infraction is. You may never be seen again. This is where we are. And so I don't want anyone to sit around and say, well, you know what, I'm an American citizen, I'm okay. I think people are getting to the place now where they understand that this can be a whole lot more dangerous for all of us here. The more egregious the contemptible behavior, the more speedy the judge will probably move and the heavier weapons they'll use, said another former federal judge who sat on the trial-level district court branch. It is not safe to be a judge today. Either you're going to be a judge and not follow the rule of law and not levy the sanctions, or you're going to be a judge and follow the rule of law and levy the sanctions and find yourself, these kinds of things happening to you. One judge's son was killed. That judge believed that it had to do with all of this because they stood up to this government. In some situations, Trump-appointed judges have slowed or stopped direct conflict between the administration and judges. The Supreme Court, with its conservative majority this year, signed off in Trump's favor on most emergency disputes over the use of his powers to reshape the federal government, undercutting standoffs. But Trump appointees in the federal bench haven't unilaterally refrained from questioning the executive approach. It's a lot. I would ask you to go and read this article. It's on CNN.com. It says the courts are helpless inside the Trump administration's steady erosion of judicial power. Caitlin Polance wrote this. It's not even safe for journalists right now. It's so scary out here. Ooh. With just days left to secure state funding to avoid massive SEPTA service cuts and fare increases, Governor Josh Shapiro said the time to act is now. Shapiro was joined by Scott Saar, the general manager of SEPTA, and several labor leaders at SEPTA headquarters on Sunday as he discussed the latest update on the status of securing state funding for the transit agency. We are at the point of short-term stopgap measures. We are past the point of short-term stopgap measures. We are past the point of a few months of fixes, Shapiro says. It is time to have recurring long-term revenue for SEPTA and for other mass transit agencies across Pennsylvania. The time to act is now. So Nehemiah says they have deported non-South Sudanese to South Sudan. And mind you, it's a country in war as well. Nehemiah, if I send you the, Nehemiah, stay right there. If I send you the link, can you get on this live, please? Because I really want to talk to you about the war that is happening in so many places right now in Africa and the continent. Hold on, let me see if I can find this and get this to you, which is this Mornings with Martha. Here we go. I'm about to send you the link, darling. I'm about to send you the link. Hold on, because we do need to talk about this. Ah, Jesus, there's so much going on out here. So much going on out here. Every day, I look at what's going on and I cringe every day. Hold on, let me see. Hold on, let me find it. There you are. Because she and I have been talking about the trauma. I sent you the link, my darling. I sent you the link. Just join me. She and I have been talking about the trauma of what's been going on in Ghana. So there were several Ghanaian officials who were heading to the gold mines to stop some of the criminal activity that was there. And their helicopter got into a crash and they died. And so the conversation has been, was this deliberate? You know, these people have been traveling back and forth for God knows how long. And so it's not just in these United States of America. There is something bubbling across the world that we just need to pay attention to. Oh, God. So let me take a look because I got this about SEPTA. Hold on one second. I'll see Nehemiah in 1 second. Oh, Jesus Christ. I'm sorry. SEPTA has, from NBC 10, SEPTA has set a deadline of August 14th as the last day that the mass transit provider can wait to secure funding to address its $213 million budget deficit. Without that funding, SEPTA plans to cut services across the board by about 20% on August 24th. So it's August 11th now. They have 3 more days. You have 3 more days. I did not know this happened. Anavasak Anu, a cafe owner, is being held in ICE detention center. Community members, activists, and family members gathered Saturday outside Das Good Cafe in Germantown to show solidarity and rally in support of owner Anavask Anu, who was detained by federal immigration officials last month. His wife, Ann, told Germantown Info Hub that on July 28th, her husband was detained by the U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement and is currently being held at Mashanan Valley Processing Center, so they're not even held anywhere close by. Protesters brought signs and chanted, "Who's our neighbor? And who's our neighbor? And cares not cages." Some attended because they knew him. Many, like Chris Hopener, came because they wanted to fight back against deportation efforts. This was WHYY.org that this happened. Oh, God, there's so much going on here. With the first day of school less than 3 weeks away, the city's teachers union says it's prepared to strike while negotiating a new contract with the school district of Philadelphia. The unresolved state budget, however, remains a barrier. The public school year starts on Monday, August 25th, but the union contract expires at the end of the month. The 14,000 member Philadelphia Federation of Teachers represents counselors, nurses, office workers, and paraprofessionals, such as non-teaching assistants, as well as teachers. Lord Jesus. So that's written by phillytrib.com. So that's happening. They're optimistic they can reach an agreement with the PFT. Wait. We look forward to working with the PFT on a proposal that honors the hard work of our educators, said Monique Braxton, Philadelphia School District spokesperson, in a statement. As we approach the expiration of the current contract, we're optimistic that we can reach an agreement with the PFT. All right, let me go over here. I see Nehemiah. It's about to be a conversation. Laura says Pat Dugan is going to lose. People are going to show up at the polls with all that is happening. Oh, thank you, Charmaine. Thank you, darling. Everybody's telling me, yes, that was the Mary and Miss Alyssa May. She was so amazing, so amazing. Thank you all so much. I love you all. Thank you. Oh, that tea is good. I'll share my tea with you. Let me let Nehemiah in. Whoo, baby. Nehemiah. Good morning, my darling. Good morning. You sound low, Nehemiah. I can hardly hear you.
Okay, let me. All right. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. I'll have my video off for better connection.
Okay. So the video strains the connection for you?
Yeah, it does.
Okay. What's happening? When you made the comment, were you saying that this administration here in America sent non-South Sudanese people to South Sudan?
Yes, it was actually in the Supreme Court because it was unlawful to deport anybody to a third nation than their own. So if you're South Sudanese, you offended, you can be deported to South Sudan. Since South Sudan has been at war, the last administration actually held deportations because, again, that country is in conflict. But Trump administration said, "Not today, Satan," and deported 8 people to South Sudan, criminal, mind you, murderers, child molester, whatever it was. There was only one South Sudanese that was among them. Those citizens were from Vietnam, Cambodia. So Asian countries were deported to South Sudan. The reason why that there was it was a big thing on CNN, actually. It was all over, all of the big news, because it's unlawful. You can't do that. And there was a retaliation with the Trump administration to the South Sudanese administration because there was one Congolese man that was deported and he protested and said, "I'm not South Sudanese, I'm Congolese. I cannot be deported to this country." So, as a backlash, the visas requirements were actually dropped. Any South Sudanese that was in the US a couple of months ago, they were restricted. So the students that were there, their visas were void, all of that. So the government had to have a conversation with the Trump administration, whatever negotiation they did for the visas to be reinstated, then allowed for those non-citizens to be deported to South Sudan. Mind you, we don't have any services. We're still at war, and now it's the new thing.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
How is what's happening here in the United States impacting the continent? You're in Ghana. Is it impacting the continent in any way in Ghana particularly?
So the only impact is that we're doing tip for tips. So Ghanaians visa, they would issue 3 month visas. So America was like, okay, we're gonna cancel this privilege many of you used to have of having 5 year visas, 2 year visas. Now we're just gonna do 3 months. So there was tat for tadpole going on in terms of foreign affair. And the same thing happened several years ago when he was back the president then.
Mm-hmm.
When he
Mm-hmm.
banned Nigeria and all of these countries. So Nigeria also banned America back. I remember 2 years ago, I was going to Nigeria. Of course, I only have an American passport. I had to go in for an interview. Yeah.
What?
Yep. And they laughed with me. They were like, well, we know you're African, but you're holding an American passport. So you're part of the shamuck. Well, you're going to have to do an interview.
Wow.
I mean, so in terms of foreign policy, Trump is staying out of conflict, even though he's trying to get a Nobel Peace Prize right now, saying that he's ended a lot of conflict, which is a lie, proper lie. But he's staying away from a lot of places, but then he's also igniting a lot of things in terms of when America does this, some countries are getting, for lack of better word, the balls to say, okay, we're going to do the same thing back again.
Right.
Yeah.
The last time we spoke, Ghana had resolved its debt with the United States using its gold reserves.
Yeah.
And the Ghanaian dollar is dollar for dollar with the American dollar now, something we had not seen, I hadn't seen in my lifetime. What other
So in
countries are, go ahead.
so in terms of like there's different type of so the bank rate is a little bit lower, but forex is still reasonable. Like I think it's 11 cedis to $1, which is still very good
Hmm.
compared to South Sudan, where $1 is like 1,000 Sudanese pounds. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
We-
What are what are the folks living in the continent saying about what's happening in the United States based on what they've seen, read, and heard?
so within my group, I can speak with the diasporan group that I'm a part of. We're pretty much saying we're watching a shit show from afar. That's it. We're keeping it real. We're watching a shit show from afar. And
Hmm.
many of us, for me, I can speak for myself that I'm grateful that I'm here. But at the same time, what happened in the US, it has a ripple effect.
Right.
And for myself, those of us that have grown up in war, we know authoritarian leaders and so forth. For me, I'm like, okay, if I go to the US now, will they search my stuff at at the airport? I'm constantly checking in to see if my global entry is still valid. If not, I'll reapply for it and do an interview when I come into the country because again,
Right.
it's authoritarian. If I go to South Sudan, the same thing will happen. They will check me because of my activism that I did against the government when I was in the US. So
So let
for
me
us, it's very much, yeah.
keep going, Nemo.
No. For us, it's very much like we're grateful, but at the same time, there's that hurt where, especially for somebody like myself, where I don't feel like I have a home anywhere. So it's like the sense of home has been taken away.
Yeah.
There's no safety anywhere, physical safety that is, right? Of course you can create mental safety
Hmm.
and emotional safety as much as you can, but the emotional safety too, if you're somebody like us, you're an empath, you feel everything, that is also is not there fully. You just have to work on how do you create that for yourself.
Do you believe, because I've been talking to a lot of people who are now seeking dual citizenship, do you believe it's safer to have citizenship elsewhere other than just being an American citizen?
Oh, you got to, you by fire by force as they said. You like, so for me it's interesting because it's the opposite, right? I have American citizenship. South Sudan will not give me my passport because of the activism work that I've done. So I'm even in the continent. If Trump says tomorrow that all naturalized citizens are done, I'll be undocumented in Ghana.
Wow.
Yeah.
Could you apply for citizenship in Ghana?
So that was tricky. I did. The 500 people that got citizenship, myself and a few other people were denied because they said we were connected to the continent.
So you should go back to the original country of your birth. Is that what they're saying?
Well, they're basically saying if you want citizenship, you have to marry a Ghanaian. So I'm
What?
like, "Then what's your definition of a diaspora, auntie?" The emotional yo-yo ness of these. I wrote a piece because I'm missing out on a lot of opportunities that only require African passport holders. And for me, we were displaced. Documentation
So
wasn't
wait,
a
wait. Just so I'm clear, you're missing out on opportunities to earn income because they only require people that have African heritage.
passports. Yes. Mhm.
Really?
Yes.
So you're sitting there in Ghana like a fish out of water.
Yep. And I'm as I'm as African as it gets.
You can't get any more African. Turn on your camera so they can see you. For those of them who have
Hello.
never seen you, turn on your camera so they can see you. You're as
Hi.
African as they get.
Hello, the original woman.
Let me ask you this. Let me ask you
Yes.
this, Nirmal. You I saw a thing that you posted about South Sudan, which is where you were born, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And that's what made you decide that you did not
No, actually, I
consider
was
it
born
your
in
home
Ethiopia.
anymore.
All right, I was born. I was born. Mm-hmm.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was born in Ethiopia,
So
but
wait,
my
so then why
ancestral
can't
name.
you go back to Ethiopia then and get, I'm just asking out of sheer ignorance because I don't know how the
Oh no.
policies work. Why
So
couldn't you go back to Ethiopia?
Ethiopia doesn't allow dual citizenship.
You are
I would have to.
literally turn your camera on. Turn your camera on.
Ah,
You are literally between a rock and a whole
and
hard place. So you were born in Ethiopia. They don't
yep.
allow dual citizenship.
Mm-hmm.
You lived in South Sudan. South Sudan
Yep.
says no because you had activism from
Mm-hmm.
here in America against South
Yes.
Sudan because of the war and the people that were dying. South Sudan had been all over the news in the last decade or so because of the violent crimes and wars that were happening to the
Mhm.
people there. So they said no.
Yep.
Ghana
Yes.
says you can't
Not
become
today.
huh?
Not today. Ghana said not today.
Ghana says you have to marry a Ghanaian in order to,
Mm-hmm.
but in that place you have to apply for citizenship and hope that you
To get
get
it.
it.
Yeah.
And if the United States decides to take away naturalization, you will be
I'm
a person
undocumented.
undocumented. Damn it. I
So
don't think
and
I have ever, for those of us who are feeling like, oh my God, there are options. So what if you fall in love with someone who is not Ghanaian?
oh, then that's it. If they're American, then I'm done for. If America says no, but if they have citizenship elsewhere, then I can probably get it. But I do. There's some people that are trying to work at this because if we're going to have the conversation around borderless Africa, right? Because there's a big campaign right now in the continent. Because Kenya just stopped their visa requirement for African passport holders. A lot of African countries are doing that. If we're going to talk about borderless Africa, then we have to talk about people like myself in limbo. We have to talk about those that couldn't get documentation because of movement and displacement. A friend of mine shared an opportunity with me around writing.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful opportunity. But they, again, they said they only want African passport holders. And so I had to write something to them. Let me try to find what I wrote. I'm just like, yo, I can with y'all.
So you can't even really fully earn an income
Mm-mm.
because you're not an African passport holder.
Mm-hmm. I have my nationality card, my South Sudanese nationality card, my
Mhm.
Ethiopian nationality card, and then that's it. No passport from the rest.
Do you think they did that because in response to the amount of Americans that were coming and taking over many of the jobs in business and industry?
No, actually, they didn't. Their definition of a diaspora was very scrutinized. I think
Okay.
this should have been this citizenship is for those that their families survived the transatlantic slave. It's not for the African diaspora in total, it's for this particular group. But they said it's for the African diaspora. I happen to qualify as an as a
Right.
diasporan. We're talking about being an American diasporan. I applied with my American passport. I'm an
Right.
American diasporan. If you're talking about an African diasporan, I'm an African diasporan. I'm living outside of my original countries. At this point, countries, not country.
Right.
And so I qualified for that as well. So I think whoever was in there did not understand the definition of a diaspora
Wow.
and what it means. Hmm.
So, how are you feeling now that you're so in limbo, being a part of the African diaspora? You were born in Ethiopia, you lived in South Sudan before that became war torn, and you had to come here to the United States as a small child. You now are an American, naturalized American citizen, but you're just, how do you earn income?
So luckily, Americans are still very much wanted and needed. So I've been picking up consultancies in different African countries. So like I'm working with an amazing organization in South Africa. There's a couple of Kenyan sisters that I'm working with around. So I've really picked up my healing work here. So my healing work is what has picked up here a lot more, and curriculum writing, and then just doing a few various things. So, but in terms of really getting like a proper gig, because also companies, because you're an American, they say they can't afford you.
Jesus.
There's that affordability as well.
Wow.
Hmm.
So when Ghana was offering citizenship back in 2020,
Hmm.
those the people who jumped on that are going to be okay.
Yes.
Jesus,
Yes.
Jesus, Jesus. What
So there's
country, what passports can come to Africa without needing a visa?
Jamaicans, you can come to Ghana
I
without
know.
needing a.
Yeah, we have
Yep.
CADCOM passports. Yeah.
Yeah,
Hmm.
so there's a few other countries. You'll just have to Google and see which country requires which, because it depends on the relationship too of the
Hmm.
country as
Hmm.
well. There was a short piece that I wrote because I was really feeling like I don't belong anywhere, and
Hmm.
yet I'm from everywhere type of thing.
Hmm.
There is a writing workshop in September in Opportunity for African Women or just African writer, but they said they wanted a passport holder. So I wrote, I said, I write with hands that have never held a passport from the country that birthed me. As a South Sudanese Ethiopian American, former refugee, I carry multiple identities in a body that belongs everywhere and nowhere. This year, writing became my lifeline. Each word, an act of reclaiming pieces of myself that displacement and bureaucracy try to erase. I travel on an American passport, forever locked out of accessing a South Sudanese one because of my activism for my homeland liberation from the diaspora. Is the very thing preventing me from claiming it officially. I've uploaded my South Sudanese nationality card, fragile paper, holding my entire belonging to a place that shaped my soul but cannot shelter me legally. For years, opportunities have slipped away. We prioritize African passport holder. Each rejection feels like being told I'm not African enough for African spaces, despite every fiber of my being beating with the ancestral rhythm. Writing has become my sanctuary where I am not limited by passport color, but simply human, telling human stories. Every word carry my grandmother lullabies, my burning homeland smoke, America's freedom taste, and the ache of never quite fitting anywhere completely. Writing transformed my parallel otherness into something beautiful and healing. The Connex workshop represent a validation that my stories matter, that my African identity transcend documentation. And it's my homecoming to the literary community I've watched from afar. It's my chance to finally reclaim my space in the African storytelling tradition that raised me when system failed me. So I'm like, y'all can do whatever y'all want to do with it. I'm done. I've written what I've written. But like
Wow.
for me, like I wrote, I read this to a friend of mine that's in South Africa. He's a brilliant, brilliant social policy person, and he himself also feels the same way because he
Wow.
was like, "You're." When he went to go get his South Sudanese passport, his name is non-South Sudanese. He doesn't look like the typical social media that everybody sees of South Sudan. Is tall,
Mm-hmm.
dark. He's from a different ethnic group, and they too question his identity.
Jesus.
So that's how I feel. Like I belong nowhere. Yeah.
Wow.
Mm.
I'm thinking this through as you're talking, and in my head, while I was concerned about this and that happening, I have some place to call home.
Mhm.
And it's something that I took for granted until this very moment. Until
Mhm.
this very moment. I have family that I can go home to. I have thriving families that are there, that I would walk into an ecosystem of love and joy and beautiful shores and a beautiful space to live up in the mountains, look like a mansion with acres and acres of land around it. And it never occurred to me that there are truly, truly, truly people like you
Yeah.
that are just so displaced despite all your education, despite all your work, despite we absolutely, Erica, we take so much for granted. So much for granted. And despite that, you don't want to come back to the United States, do you?
No, I'm okay.
I
uh
hear you. I hear
So
you.
last week I was in Egypt for a conference and we
Mhm.
touched on about it. The race is like for me, the level of anti-blackness I faced in Egypt was ridiculous.
In
And it
Egypt,
made
another African country.
oh, they think they're Arabs, they're not us. And the way that they treat those of us that are dark skinned, and particularly the way they treat us South Sudanese, historically, is they think we're supposed to be their slaves. Mind you, I was at a conference where I was a presenter, and my the South African friends that were with me, when they finally realized what was happening, they would not let me out of their sight. And I started off with an Uber driver to come and pick us up because we didn't want to do the bus. We wanted to get to the hotel early. The Uber driver came. He looked at the three of us. He looked at me, and he drove off like he was in Fast and the Furious.
Wow.
The
So
stairs.
so the racism is
Mhm.
everywhere.
It's everywhere. So for me, even though there are those colonized, colorist comments that are made about my skin in Ghana, I feel safer in this skin here than I did in the US. And I've made up my mind that I will not go to North African countries unless I'm going there for work and I feel like I'm protected by the agency because, again, they still think that they're better than us because Islam has made them think that they're Arabs.
Hold on one second, Nehemiah. So she's calling me from the continent of Africa in Ghana. The internet system is a little interesting. You already know this. So, Oswald, if you want to hear her, come on over to YouTube. It's A.Lawful Truth Enterprises. You'll see my face in orange and purple. And subscribe, and you can see, you can hear her better over here because I'm streaming live from another platform
Okay.
into YouTube. Okay. Tiffany says colorism is something else. Is something else. I used to say to folks with dark skin,
Mhm.
because I grew up, I'm dark skinned, but I never felt like I was different because our father would, describe us as the color. You are the color of oak. You're the color of this. You're the color. So we always thought we were these beautiful trees, and so we
Mm,
never walked around feeling like our we were less than simply because
mm.
we were dark skinned. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah.
And so, but when I came here and listened to the amount of people who were like, because of my skin color, because of the darkness of my skin, I don't get as many opportunities as someone who is much lighter than I am. And I'm like, it is twin. I don't know what is it going to take, but I really feel like the entire world is going to have to be in complete turmoil for us to figure out that the color of our skin, and it's not just with white folks; it's between us as people
Oh
across the
yeah.
diaspora.
Oh
Sometimes
yeah.
we're worse with each other,
So
and that's crazy to me.
I wrote a piece for an anthology that's coming out. Beginning of the year, 20 African women got together. We went to Limpopo, South Africa, in the wilderness, and we just wrote. And the piece that I wrote is entitled 1159. So when we were in school, one of my friends was a little bit lighter than me, although she's South Sudanese. They used to make fun of her color 1159, and I was midnight. So when we were brainstorming what our title pieces should, and I shared this story with everybody, they were like, "Yeah, it's 1159. That's your piece right there." And so I talked about experiencing colorism from a white supremacy lens in the U.S. and then now in the continent from a colonial lens. So
And
that is
that's
also
why.
another dichotomy.
So we have bought into, yeah, you are in a dichotomy, but we've also bought into the lighter our skin, the more opportunities open for us, because bleaching has been a huge thing. Huge.
We, Auntie, we went to a chop bar. A chop bar is like a local restaurant, right? Under a tree, whatever. We went to a chop bar yesterday to go get fufu, to eat fufu, one of West African food. The lady that normally is she's like the bus girl. Short, beautiful, dark skinned lady. Yesterday she surprised us she was light skinned. And my sister and I looked at each other like, She took time off to go bleach and come back.
And that bleaching turns into cancer in your skin.
Yeah. And it's just not the continent. Southeast Asians are doing it, and like the science have become so much that you can take melanin blocking pills.
What? Stop.
And
Stop
IV injection.
it.
Yo, auntie, I'm telling you, an IV injection. Because here, some of the girls would ask me, "Oh my gosh, your skin is so even. It's so nice. What do you use?" I said, "Shea butter." And then they look at me like I'm lying.
Oh, yeah, because when you bleach, even if you stop, your skin never comes back to,
No.
yeah, yeah. And they
Mm.
say your skin is paper thin. I have a lot of
Yep.
doctors in my family, doctors and nurses, and they said the skin becomes so paper thin. There was just, you can't do anything after that. You can't barely rub it. It's terrible. And we've
Yeah.
allowed all of this to impact us in such horrible ways. I don't get it. What would it take for us to emancipate ourselves from mental slavery? Because that's where we are.
Mm. Yeah. Radical self love and joy. So in the feminine, I'm working in a lot of the African feminist spaces,
Hmm.
and we're claiming radical joy. Radical joy. You have to be radical about it because
Yeah.
that's the only thing that's gonna happen. So for me, I show up as me. If you like it, yay. If you don't, yay. I keep it moving because it's only one me. And but
Yeah.
I think as a child, this one instilled in me with activities. It was the athletics that gave me this confidence. Because a lot of the young women that I grew up with, they couldn't fathom or they couldn't go through the hurt. So it's like, okay, let me try to ease it. And the other day, I honestly, after experiencing Egypt, and I was like, I don't blame them. I
Yeah.
don't blame them because it's hard work to walk in your skin every day authentically. If there is something that is made that can ease that pain, then for those that chose to ease it, I don't blame them. Honestly, I sat with this week and was like, I don't blame those who bleach because it's hard.
You see, you don't blame the people that bleach.
No.
Get that. I get that, Nehemiah. I understand.
Mm-hmm.
I do understand. Because they're trying to lessen the pain and the damage
Mm-hmm.
and the hurt that's been caused.
Mm-hmm.
This is so crazy. What will it take for us to get to a space of peace and harmony in our lifetimes? Is that even
Ooh,
possible?
no, it's not. White people are choosing white supremacy over humanity. I'm gonna yell that. White people are choosing white supremacy over their own humanity. We're not gonna get there until they decide to say, okay, you know what? It's us against the systems, and the systems are not seeing our humanity as a collective. Then we're not gonna get there because they're always going to choose him who does not even know their struggles.
Yeah, yeah. I remember some years ago. Um, Dennis says Dennis says you're the best looking crayon in the pack. Um, I remember some years ago being asked by some black folks, why did I have so much confidence um, in a time where I shouldn't? You're black. You just walking around like your life is like everybody else's. Thank God for our parents. Thank God. They made sure that we understood that we were valuable outside of our skin tone. We didn't focus on this. We focused on what was in here and what was here. Right. And
Mm-hmm.
that's the thing that opened the door. So if someone thought or felt that, I shouldn't be, or I shouldn't have the courage, what happens is they back up in a corner. And when they finally talk to me, they say, you're frightening. Your aura is frightening. It's the
Mm-hmm.
confidence that's frightening to them, but they can't voice, why would you be so confident and you're dark skinned and you should have all these things against you, and why are you so smart when everything that I have learned about you and your people is that you're dumb as a bag of rocks and you can have
Mm-hmm.
the conversations. We're not falling into the stereotypes of all the things that they think we could and shouldn't do. And so my mother would always say, never drop your shoulders or drop your head. Always walk and focus looking ahead. She taught us how to walk without looking at our feet. She said, because there's nothing down there for you to find. Just go straight
Mm-hmm.
ahead and look, right? And what she was teaching us was confidence, and we didn't realize it in the moment. Didn't realize it in the moment. On Saturday, I met a woman from South Africa, who was here visiting her daughter
Mm-hmm.
and son-in-law and her grandchildren. She'll be going back home in a couple of months, and she had heard me interviewing Shamika Brown for her book. And she said, I felt like you were talking to me. I felt like you were engaging and inviting me because we were taught to just be there and love on people. She has become my new mama. I didn't even tell her that, but she's become my new mama because, she behaves the way my mother behaved. You know how, when my oldest son was born and he would get up at 6 o'clock in the morning and say, Grandma, 4 o'clock in the morning, Grandma, want
Mm-hmm.
soup for breakfast this morning. And in our culture, we make everything from scratch. There are no boxes and all
Yep.
those things. And so my mother would get up and peel the yam and knead the flour and, boil the chicken. It takes 2 hours to make a decent pot of Jamaican soup. She finishes the soup and my son says, Grandma, I don't want that anymore. I want porridge.
Was this number one or number two?
Number one. It's number one. This is number one.
Number
But she
one.
did that with all her grandchildren, right? And so
Mhm.
when my grandchildren were born, in the custom that I have been accustomed to, I went and spent 8 weeks with each of them, like when they were born. I cooked while so the parents could get some sleep. I made sure the babies had what they needed. Now, Pace, when Copy and Paste sees me, Pace push everybody out the way. That Grandma's here. Goodbye. Grandma and I are gonna, because I want to give back to them. When you get that kind of love from an early age, from as young as you can remember, when life hits you, and it will. Do you remember the time we went to Martha's Vineyard and I completely lost my
Mhm.
mind? Do you remember that?
Oh
That
yes.
memory came up in the last couple of days, and I was so frustrated and so angry. One of the men in the house, when I finally calmed down, said, I will never, ever, ever cross you.
That's hello. Oh, so
Because,
Auntie Dundon and I had to sage her down,
yes,
Florida over her. We took her to the
yes,
river to baptize her because we're like, we ain't about to be accessories to murder.
when you spend your life making sure that people are okay and loving on people, and I wasn't necessarily angry for what was happening with us because, as a team, we were
Yeah.
pivoting and doing what we had to do. I was angry about the people who were not being treated well. And there were way too many of them that were not being treated well. And I flipped. I flipped to the point where I couldn't sleep. I woke up Denise 3 o'clock the next morning. You were saging me down. You're like, auntie, auntie, auntie. I was so angry. You could feel my energy just seeping out of my body into everybody people were literally frightened watching me. Literally. Because what I cannot stand is when we spend time just destroying people because we can, that, not treating people well because we can. And if we don't take care of each other, then who the hell are we expecting to take care of us? We have this mindset that, oh, I've made it and I can treat anybody anyway. And those people who behave that way are usually the first ones to go down in flames. When you treat people, don't ever forget how you make them feel.
Mm-hmm.
Ever. And then I think it was that same trip we were going down to Louisiana across West Virginia. We walked into a space and everybody stopped talking. They were looking at our skin tone like there's black people in here and there's another black woman that we ain't never seen before. They were looking at you.
Yeah.
And they didn't know how to have conversation with us. But we walked into those rooms because we belonged into those rooms. And they inevitably came and started talking to us. Well, where are you from? Blah, 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 blah. Drove all the way to Louisiana. It was on that trip driving through the western mountains of West Virginia. You were like, I don't want to be here anymore. Remember that?
Yep. I was like, this is my last hurrah in America. Love y'all long time. I'll be back to visit.
Yeah.
But I
And
got to go.
yes, and by November you were gone. You were
I
like
was
you picked up and you rolled out. And so that's the bravery. If we don't know how to pivot, y'all, and pivoting doesn't always look like having design, and in fact, pivoting doesn't look like designer clothes. Pivoting,
Nope.
it looks like having a village around you that will help you and say, come and stay with me until you get on your feet. Pivoting means I share what I have with other people. Pivoting means, because I'm telling you, when the rubber meets the road here, and it's
Hey.
here, and we just don't feel it yet. For those of you who have been singular in your mindset, you're going to start asking conversation, asking the talk, and people are going to ignore you. People are going to ignore you and say, when I needed you, you were not there for me.
Mm-hmm.
When I knocked on your door, you were not there for me. And those doors are going to close, not because they're being mean, but because they understand that you're singularly focused and you would not make a good part of their village because you will harm them. It's important. It's important. Nehemiah, this is, whew.
But Auntie, as you were saying, people have to also realize that we, as a people, genetically, we don't thrive individually.
Say it again. Ubuntu.
As,
I am because we are.
thank you. As a people, genetically, we don't thrive individually. That's their motto. Ours is the community. And then the fragmentation of what community is now is being distorted. And that's why so many people are like, but why are the youth joining gangs? Because again, community, right? Why are so many young people not in church? Because they're being driven away from church because
Mm-hmm,
of judgmental aunties and uncle and all the
mm-hmm,
rules, instead of come and let me embrace you and love you. And I
mm-hmm.
think the biggest quote from Black Panther is, the child that wasn't loved by the village will burn
We'll
it
burn
down
it down to
to
feel
warmth.
its warmth.
Mhm.
Absolutely. 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 I love you dearly. I believe our lives will intersect again
Oh
continually.
yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for the love and the work ethic and the journey and the and the support. Just thank you for everything. I learned so much from you. So much from you about our ancestry and how we can, in Jamaica, we with like the Asians, we spend it, we can all bundle up in a house. All right, you take a room. This one's going to go to work. Da 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 da. And so people say, well, you come here and you take all the job. Well, we were living in that squalor, but like hand to mouth, literally. I'll help
Yeah.
you over here. I'll cook all the dinner. You go and
Mm.
work, and whatever little money you make, you put it together so that you can and grow. It is the way I behave when you all see me out in public. I am not turning my nose to you. If we don't speak, it's because you look at me and look through me and act like you don't see me. I'm not acknowledging that. So I just don't say
Nope.
anything to you. But if I'm in a room and I see and I just will grab you and hug you. My son says,
Yeah.
Mommy, you give the best hugs. I will grab you and hug you and whisper in your ears. I don't know what it is, but let's go. Let me know how I can support you, because
Mm.
that's the village. That's the community that we need to have with each other, that we spend so much time. Oh, I'm so different. I'm going to Martha's of the Vineyard and I'm going to over here and you show up as someone who's only about yourself and your family. What do you do?
But Auntie, let
What?
me cut you off real quick and tell people, like I share with my mentees now the doors you've opened for me, and it's all because of the risk that I took to ask you. I'm like, I don't know what mentorship look like, but I just need somebody. I love the way you move with integrity, and that's what I was like, I'm gonna do. Remember when we first went to Mother's Vineyard, you just asked me if I can help you drive. But I was there and I saw that you were doing amazing work and I can create content. You didn't even ask me, you
Yeah.
know, and from there, other opportunities opened up because
Yep.
you
When
took
I
a
was
risk
going
to
to California and they said you're gonna do, I said I gotta fly Nehemiah in from Ghana,
that's it.
baby,
We
and we
moved.
took it over. Yep. Yep.
Yeah. So
Yep.
it's how when somebody asks you, and I was just marveling over the black a- attire affair that you all just had with Mister. And I was just like, oh, excellent went into that. Love went into that because different people said, you know what? I have a voice. I'm going to come through and use my voice 100% to support what is happening and vice versa. That's the only way we're going to survive. If
Yes.
we are unselfish about how we give to each other, because it will return tenfold.
Yeah. 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 It's important.
And you're the
I
only one that I will drop a dime to show up for. I'll be like, when you were like, come on, I said, ooh, let me put some clothes on. I just got out of the shower. I was like, I'm just calling. Let me put on some clothes, earrings. Woo. All right.
I love you, my darling. I am hoping that we are part of the example that shows people that everything doesn't have to have a dollar attached to it. Just
Nope.
love on folks. And so when you call and say, I'd like to see, can somebody come out and help to support? The amount of volunteers I had yesterday was just remarkable. And they
Mm-hmm.
bought their merchandise. They volunteered and bought merchandise. I was like, well, look at Black Jesus.
Hello?
So, yeah, huh?
No, I'm just saying hello.
Yeah.
Yes.
Sherman said, yes, that hug yesterday made my worry small in comparison to how it was before I landed in your arms. You're so welcome. Because everything just looks so big and insurmountable. But there is everything, there's a solution to everything. And as my husband would say, everything in life is negotiable, including life itself. And so
Yes.
when I used to worry about the different things, saying, y'all, for me to get here, the amount of things that I had gone through, you all don't even know the amount of pivoting that has to happen. My entire life I've been pivoting since I knew myself at 4 years old. I just kept pivoting. I don't sit in something and go, oh, well, that's not working, so I'm just going to sit here and suffer for the rest of my life. I am the pivot queen. And if you're going to make it in this life, you got to know how to pivot. You
And
got to know how to pivot.
Jennifer Lewis, her quote stays with me. If you sit in shit long enough, it's gonna stop smelling. So for
Ooh,
me, I'm like, ooh, I don't want to sit in it too long that I can't smell it, but other people smell it. So, woo, if you sit in shit long enough, it's gonna stop smelling.
absolutely.
So,
Absolutely. Absolutely. Love you. Love you, my darling. Thank you for
love you,
jumping
baby.
out the shower and joining me. Open up your camera so they can see you one more time before you get off the air. I'm so proud of you.
Hello, black people. How y'all doing?
Yeah.
And
So I am going to see if I can help to open up some healing work for you in Jamaica.
awesome, that would be
Yeah, yeah.
also, we need the three crayons sponsorship to come to Ghana because one of the things that I wanted to share with you is that there was a sister that did a plate to plate a program here. She's a amazing. She's actually from Philly. You should have a conversation with her.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the sisters that came here was Jamaican, and
Mm-hmm.
she found ackee tree here. So she was like, "Ackee tree? Do people eat it here?" They were like, "No, we
You
don't
know
eat it."
that's
But
the national dish for Jamaica?
so she's
Ackee.
doing some work around the ackee tree and
Oh,
finding her ancestry. So when we were talking, having that conversation, I was like, okay. Auntie has to come do some three crayons here and also do your own healing.
yeah, yeah. Because like you, I believe I was born to be a healer. It's
Yes,
not about the journalism. It's not about this work that we're doing right here. It's about healing. It's about healing. It's about having the kinds of conversations and curating them in such a space that people are learning and growing and healing. You can hear
yes,
all the bad news you want to, and I will cover the news, but this is healing work. It absolutely
yes.
is. It's intentional healing work for all of you
Mhm.
because we're so mean spirited and singularly focused and, trying to destroy people. Jennifer says, Nehemiah, love you, sis. Oh, they're hearing your voice.
Dr.
Oh,
Sister, Dr. Sister.
I love you, my darling. Go on and
I
do what
love
you
you.
have to do. All
All
right.
right. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you,
All right,
sweet.
black people,
Thank you.
stay black.
Thank you.
Mhm.
All right. Bye
Stay
bye.
black. Bye.
She says, stay black. David said, hello, original woman. Thank you all so much. You ever notice that I find gratitude in every single thing? I'd love to encourage you today. Are you able to take a deep breath? Say thank you. Are you able to see properly? Say thank you. If you're able to see at all, say thank you. If you can hear with your ears, say thank you. If your brain isn't foggy and you can form a coherent thought, say thank you. If you have a roof over your head, it might not be the most updated roof and the most blah, 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 blah. Say thank you. If you own a vehicle, say thank you. If you can afford to put gas in that vehicle and pay car insurance or make a car payment, say thank you. If you're able to take your couple of dollars and help someone else, say thank you. You're walking down the street and you see someone who looks amazing or just looks like just wish them a good morning and mean that ish. Find gratitude everywhere. If you can walk on your feet and they don't burn or feel like pins and needles, say thank you. If your children are healthy and you are healthy, say thank you. If you have cancer and you can still talk and go get your chemotherapy treatment and still fight for life itself, say thank you. Even if you may feel restricted on so many levels and you're thinking, oh my God, what's going to happen to us? The fact that I just said all these things that you're able to do, say thank you. Find gratitude in everything. Truly. And when you don't want to have the conversation because you feel like someone has done something to get on your last damn nerve, it's not about them, it's about you. You are letting people rent space in your head and taking up all this energy, and it shows up. It shows up in the way you act and react and respond to people. No one is going to agree with you all the time about everything. But what you cannot do, or well, you can if you want to, when you walk around and hold grudges, there's a tightness in your body. Your molecular cells are literally dying bit by bit each time you hold a grudge and keep it inside of you because you're not free. You're absolutely not free. So I keep telling you all, find your tribes, do what you need to do. I got to go to the gym. I know I do, and I can't show up late, but my soul is telling me to have this conversation with you this morning. Because so many of you woke up this morning never thinking about, thank God I can breathe. Thank God I can see. Thank God oh my God, I can't believe he did this. I can't believe she did that. I'm going to get them, da, 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 da. Every time you dig a grave for someone, dig two. One for them and the one that you're going to fall in as a direct result of digging that grave. Yesterday, met a woman. She says, your energy. I don't know what it is about my energy, y'all. I believe I was born this way. And sometimes it frightens And sometimes it feels healing. But I notice that when my energy frightens people is because there's something that they're doing. They feel guilty about something that I don't know anything about. I'm just being Andrea. So I am asking you, support, love, forgive, damn it. Forgiving is healing. Someone may have said something or done something. Forgive. Don't hold people up in your heart. Do not. And I know it's easier said than done, but I'm telling you, learn how to let it go. Just absolutely. And if you don't expect perfection out of yourself, don't expect it out of the people around you. We tend to hold our leaders in this space where you're the leader, so you must know better and be better. But leaders make mistakes too, especially because they're in the public eye. And so you literally want to be able to say, you know what, let me give grace. Because as you're spinning around spitting, and do you understand that what you focus on is what you become? So you look at all this stuff on social media, you focus on it, and you're like, oh, see, I knew so-and-so wasn't right. And oh, see, I know. Stop it, y'all. Please. You're killing yourselves in your body bit by bit. Whew. Don't know what made me do that, but I needed to. And so I thank you. I love you. And I'm grateful that my energy repels those who are up to no good. I promise you. Because you can't stay in my presence if you're nasty and unkind and singularly focused. Because that's not where I am. That's not who I am. So look at the 3 closest people to you. That'll tell you who you are. That will absolutely tell you who you are. And if you don't like what you see, then go look in the mirror and start to scrub. Do what you need to do. But we cannot continue to live like this. It cannot always just be always about us and what we want and how we think and feel. The other thing is, and I know in these United States of America, we tend to not honor the people who have lived to their 70s and 80s. But do you not know that the more you love on our elders and the more you take care of them, do for them when it's your turn, should you have the grace to live to that age, the people will remember and take care of you too. But if you discard the elders and say they're too old and they need to go sit down somewhere and they're taking over everything, we all have a place in this life. We all have a place. Maybe the place shifts and changes. Yes. But did it ever occur to you that some of our seniors, our elders who are sitting in spaces where they should have long retired, that maybe they're afraid to retire because they don't know what's next for them? It isn't always just them holding on because they've made all the money. It's the loneliness that they think they're going to experience. And one leader said it to me. I feel like when I step down from what I'm doing, everybody's going to forget who I am and my name. And my phone will stop ringing. So then we have to do the healing work too. What does that look like? What does retirement look like for you? When I get off the air, I disappear. I'm not in any of the parties, and that is deliberate. People actually stopped inviting me because they recognize that I'm not coming. I'm not coming. And if I say to you that I am coming, it's because there's something special about you that makes me want to be there. But you waste so much time and energy sitting in spaces that are not conducive to your health and well-being. Sickness comes from here first. It's the way we think and the way we behave. And those cells in our bodies say, woo, child, no, you a little toxic. Let me build a little cancer cell over here. Let me build a little this over there and a little bit of that over there. And I'm not blaming people who get cancer. That's not what I'm saying. Because the food that we eat and the atmosphere that we live in causes that too. But when you sit yourself down in the midst of just always ripping somebody apart, always have something negative to say, that develops into things that you don't want to have in your body too. So it is a blessing. 30-year-olds, 20-year-olds are dropping dead. All the things that are going on around it. It is a blessing to live to the ages where we are. And the only way we're going to make it is if we continue to love on and take care of each other. This episode of Mornings with Mother is officially over. I am Andrea Lawful Sanders. I'll see you when I see you. Bye, everybody. Bye-bye, darlings. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Bye, sweetie pies. Am I still live?